You think the problem is discipline. It isn't. You think it's the food, the workouts, the effort, that if you just pushed a little harder or cut a little more, that stubborn visceral fat would finally give way. But here's the uncomfortable truth that changes everything. Your body already knows how to burn that fat. It just hasn't received the right signal in a very long time. Japan has one of the lowest obesity rates in the developed world. Its people eat white rice every single day. They don't count calories the way we do, they don't follow extreme diets, and they certainly don't spend hours on a treadmill. And yet, decade after decade, the science coming out of Japanese chronobiology keeps pointing to the same discovery, one that has nothing to do with what you eat and everything to do with when your hormones are allowed to do their job. The real reason you're still carrying visceral fat isn't effort, it's timing. Specifically, a hormonal rhythm collapse that locks your body out of its own fat-burning cycle, silently, invisibly, every single day. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that mechanism is, exactly why it's been working against you, and exactly what to do about it, starting tomorrow morning. And the strangest part, the fix, it requires less of the wrong things, at the right time. You've tracked every meal, pushed through every workout, cut every carb the internet told you to cut, and that stubborn layer of visceral fat is still right there, completely unmoved. Frustrating, isn't it? But here's the truth nobody is saying out loud. You don't have a fat problem. You have a rhythm problem. Your cortisol, the hormone that decides whether your body burns fat or stores it, has been running on the wrong biological clock for so long that your metabolism has stopped responding altogether. It's spiking when it should be quiet, crashing when it should be driving fat burning, and firing at all the wrong moments. When your cortisol rhythm collapses, your body doesn't just slow down. It forgets how to shed visceral fat at all. And here's what makes this worse. Most of what you've been doing to fix the problem has actually been deepening it. The intense morning sessions, the late-night stress, the irregular meals, every one of those habits sends the wrong signal at the wrong time. Your body isn't broken. It's been waiting for one precise trigger to unlock the fat you've been carrying. And the name of the Japanese chronobiologists call it Koru Taizaru Rizumu no Hokai, cortisol rhythm collapse. It's the circadian hormonal breakdown that happens when your cortisol no longer peaks and falls at the right times of day. And it's the reason visceral fat becomes completely untouchable no matter what you eat or how hard you train. Here's why it matters. Your body only unlocks visceral fat during specific windows of the day, windows that are opened and closed by your cortisol curve. When the rhythm is intact, cortisol rises sharply in the morning, drives fat mobilization, and falls steadily through the afternoon and night. When the rhythm collapses, those windows never open. The fat sits there, stranded in a metabolic no-man's land, inaccessible, unmoved, while you keep working harder and wondering why nothing changes. And this is exactly what Japanese researchers identified decades ago. While the rest of the world was still obsessed with calories in and calories out, they weren't just studying what people ate. They were studying when the body was hormonally prepared to burn. The conclusion was clear. Fix the rhythm, and the fat responds. Fight the fat without fixing the rhythm, and you're pushing against a locked door. The question now is, how do you unlock it? Step 1. The dawn anchor, the circadian cortisol reset. Most people walk out of bed, reach for their phone, pour their coffee, and wonder why they feel wired and exhausted at the same time. What they don't realize is that the very first signal your body receives in the morning is the one that sets your entire hormonal clock for the next 24 hours. Get it wrong, and your cortisol rhythm stays broken before the day even starts. Here's the mechanism. Inside your brain sits a tiny structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your master biological clock. It has one primary input that overrides everything else. Not food, not exercise, not supplements, natural light. Within the first 10 minutes of waking, step outside and let your eyes receive direct natural light. No sunglasses, no windows in the way, just open sky. Even on a cloudy day, outdoor light is 10 to 50 times stronger than any indoor source. That single exposure triggers a healthy cortisol spike, followed by a precise, controlled descent, exactly the curve your body needs to unlock visceral fat later in the day. This isn't a wellness habit. It's one signal. Total reset. Every single day. If you feel like your body is constantly stuck in alert mode, with poor sleep, fatigue, untimely hunger, and stubborn abdominal fat, I've prepared the complete cortisol reset bundle. Inside, you'll receive the main guide, the cortisol reset, plus 2 bonuses: low nighttime cortisol protocol and cortisol, insulin, and abdominal fat. The link is in the description. Step 2. The cortisol meal lock, the hormonal feeding window. Most people eat when they're hungry, when they're bored, or when the clock on the wall tells them to. But your body doesn't run on a wall clock, it runs on a hormonal one. And the timing of your largest meal relative to your cortisol curve is either reinforcing your fat-burning rhythm or quietly dismantling it, one meal at a time. Here's the mechanism. Cortisol naturally peaks in the late morning, typically between 8 and 11 a.m. And this peak is not just about stress. It's your body's primary metabolic activation window. Insulin sensitivity is at its highest, digestive efficiency is optimized, and your metabolism is primed to process and burn. Eating your largest, most nutrient-dense meal during this window tells your hormonal system that fuel is available at the right time, reinforcing the rhythm. But eat that same meal at 9 p.m., when cortisol should be at its lowest, and you send the opposite signal. Cortisol spikes when it should be falling, the fat-burning window slams shut, and visceral fat metabolism stays suppressed all the way through the next morning. The adjustment is simple but non-negotiable. Make lunch your largest meal, keep dinner light and early, and let your body eat in sync with the clock it was built to follow. Front-load your fuel, protect your evenings, eat with the rhythm, not against it. Step 3. The 80% rule. The Hara-Hachi-Bu cortisol shield. Most people eat until they're full. That feels like the natural stopping point, the moment the body says enough. But that moment comes about 20 minutes too late, long after you've already crossed the line your hormones needed you to hold. And that crossing has a direct cost that almost nobody talks about. A cortisol rebound that shuts down your afternoon fat-burning phase before it even begins. Here's the mechanism. When you eat past the point of satiety, your body triggers a post-meal stress response. Digestion becomes a heavy metabolic burden, blood sugar spikes sharply, and cortisol surges to manage the load. Right in the middle of the afternoon window, when your hormonal curve should be descending toward its fat-mobilizing low. That rebound flattens the curve, collapses the rhythm, and locks visceral fat back in place as a precise hormonal intervention. The practical signal is simpler than you think. Stop eating when food still tastes good but the urgency is gone. That edge, where you could keep eating but don't need to, is the 80% threshold. It takes practice, but within a week your body starts recalibrating. Less rebound, smoother curve, longer burn. Eat less, burn more. Every afternoon. Step 4. The Rhythm Anchor Network. The social clock stabilization effect. You've probably heard that consistency is important. Wake up at the same time, eat at the same time, sleep at the same time. But what most people don't understand is why that consistency works at a biological level. And why, without it, even perfect light exposure and perfect meal timing will eventually drift and lose their effect. Here's the mechanism. Your master clock in the brain is powerful, but it doesn't operate alone. It relies on a network of secondary timekeepers throughout your body, in your gut, your liver, your muscles, called peripheral clocks. These clocks need regular, predictable social cues to stay synchronized. When daily life is chaotic and unpredictable, meals at random hours, no fixed rhythm, constant schedule disruption, the peripheral clocks drift out of sync with the master clock, and your cortisol pattern fragments. Light alone can no longer hold it together. This is precisely why the Japanese cultural emphasis on fixed daily rituals and communal meal times isn't just tradition. It's an unintentional and remarkably effective biological clock calibration system. The application is straightforward. Pick 3 fixed daily anchors and protect them like appointments you cannot cancel. Your morning light window, your largest meal, and your evening wind down. Same time, every day, no exception. Structure creates rhythm. Rhythm controls cortisol. Cortisol controls the fat. Lock in the schedule, unlock the burn. Step 5. The Nadir Protocol. The cortisol midnight defense window. Most people think fat burning happens at the gym. It doesn't. Not the deep, visceral kind. The most powerful fat mobilization your body is capable of happens in the hours after midnight, during deep sleep. When cortisol hits its absolute lowest point of the entire... Here's the mechanism. The 2 hours before midnight are the most critical phase of your entire cortisol rhythm. This is when your body begins its final descent toward the cortisol nadir, the hormonal floor that exclusively triggers the release and burning of visceral fat during sleep. But artificial light, especially blue spectrum light from screens, tells your brain it's still daytime. Melatonin is suppressed, cortisol stays elevated, the descent stalls, and without that deep nadir, your body never receives the hormonal signal it needs to mobilize the visceral fat stores you've been working all day to unlock. Late stimulation, scrolling, bright lighting, high-intensity content, stressful conversations, does the same damage. It's not just keeping you awake, it's actively canceling your overnight fat-burning cycle. The defense is precise. 2 hours before your target sleep time, dim every light in your environment, put the screens away, and let your nervous system begin its descent. Use warm, low lighting. Keep the final hour quiet, slow, and unstimulating. Think of it not as winding down, but as guarding the most valuable hormonal window in your entire day. Protect the night. Activate the burn. Wake up lighter. 5 steps. 5 precisely timed daily anchors. 1 complete hormonal reset that works around the clock. Not just during your workout, not just after a clean meal, but every hour of every day, while you sleep, while you eat, while you simply move through your morning. This is the Japanese cortisol rhythm reset protocol, and it starts the moment you open your eyes tomorrow. Step 1. The dawn anchor. Within the first 10 minutes of waking, step outside and give your eyes 5 to 10 minutes of natural light. No sunglasses, no windows, no screens. Reset the master clock first. Step 2. The cortisol meal lock. Eat your largest meal between 8 and 11 a.m. Keep dinner light and early, and let your body feed in sync with its hormonal peak. Step 3. The 80% rule. Stop eating at the edge where food still tastes good but the urgency is gone. Protect the afternoon cortisol descent. No rebound, no shutdown. Step 4. The rhythm anchor network. Fix 3 non-negotiable daily anchors and repeat them at the same time every day. Give your peripheral clocks the consistency they need to hold the rhythm together. Step 5. The Nadir protocol. 2 hours before sleep, dim the lights, kill the screens, and guard the overnight cortisol floor that exclusively unlocks visceral fat while you sleep. It's a hormonal recalibration, built on the biology your body was already designed to follow. You don't need to overhaul your life. You need to stop working against your own clock. 5 anchors, 24 hours of fat-burning signal. Start tomorrow morning,